there. I'm Cindy Linden, and this is the Cook Along Podcast. It probably today should be a Cook Along Podcast quick bite because what I'm going to make here with you is so quick and easy that I probably could have done it without actually making it with you. But the bottom line is I kind of wanted to make this with you, so here I am. I'm having a dinner party tomorrow night, and it's just a small thing. I'm just having 2 friends over for dinner, so there'll be 4 of us, so whoop-de-doo. But maybe that qualifies as a dinner party. I think it does because we're going to party while we're here. I have my menu all planned out, which I always take a great deal of time with. And it gets a little silly, and I usually end up making way too much food. This time, I am trying to keep it kind of light because I want to serve 2 desserts. And so we got to save room for the desserts. So the appetizer course, there's going to be 2. I'm going to put out some little tiny pickles and some olives, a new one called grilled chocodiki olives, which I'm kind of excited to try. They came from Trader Joe's this morning. And some smoked salmon, and some crackers, and this one thing that I'm actually making. So I'm taking the easy way out, and I'm trying to not overload everything with cheese, because, I don't know, I feel like that's too heavy, and cheese plays an enormous part in almost everything I cook that's savory, sometimes even that's sweet. In fact, there's one coming up you're really going to want to watch for that's Italian ricotta almond cookies. Oh my God, they are so amazing. But we're not doing that today. What we're doing today is a cheese spread I'm going to serve alongside those other things I talked about. It's called Michigan Avenue Cheese Spread. And this can be as a sandwich spread, a cracker spread, or even as a dip. And I cut it out of the paper, back when newspapers still printed recipes that you could actually physically cut out. So it's been a little while. I have a bunch of those that I cut out at the time and have never gotten around to making. Well, today I have an excuse, and it's the one that jumped out at me when I was scanning through all the recipes for what to make for this particular visit tomorrow. The ingredients here are what attracted me, and I think you'll understand why as I read them to you. 3 tablespoons of sun-dried tomatoes, 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar, a pinch of dried red pepper flakes, a half a cup of part skim ricotta cheese, and unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, I don't have part skim right now. I have whole milk, so that's what it shall be. A half cup of crumbled feta cheese, and 1 clove of garlic. I don't know about you, but I can easily imagine those things coming together into something quite tasty. And this will make about a cup. The equipment you're going to need is a microwave safe bowl, and then a bowl to beat everything together. And I think I could do this by hand, but I think I'm not going to. I'm going to use my stand mixer to beat the ricotta and feta together because it just says until fluffy. And I figure that by the time it's fluffy, my arm is going to be really tired and sore. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use my mixer. If you have a tool, use it. If you don't have a tool, use a whisk or a spoon and elbow grease, whatever you've got on hand, so to speak. There aren't any do-aheads. We're going to do it all right here and now. First, we have to deal with the sun-dried tomatoes. I have discovered something new in my grocery store, or new-ish. Maybe I'm late to this game. But there are sun-dried tomatoes that are packaged like raisins. I don't quite know how to explain this, but it's in a dry packet. They're dry. They're not packed in oil. Because I find those, I don't know, it's just a lot of oil. And even if all you're doing is using up the jar and throwing it out, it's just a lot of oil. So I thought when I found these that are packaged in little plastic Ziploc bags that have no oil on them and they're ready to eat, I just thought that sounded like a better way to go about this. Less mess and less residual stuff. Now, if you have sun-dried tomatoes in oil, that oil is really flavorful, and you shouldn't just toss it. If you can find things to flavor with it, that's your best idea. I'm measuring out 3 tablespoons. This is probably more expensive to buy them this way because you're getting only the tomato. You're not getting all that oil. I don't know, maybe that makes it cheaper because you're also not paying for the oil. You're only paying for what you're going to actually use. I'm just kind of jamming them down into this spoon because I figure more is better than not enough. I might be making that up, but it always seems that way to me. Okay, now we have to chop those up. Not chop them exactly. We want those cut in thin strips. Mine are already in thin strips. Yours probably are too. I'm not sure I really need to worry about it very much, but I think I'm going to chop them because I want this to spread and not be just chunks of tomato. So I'm going to chop these small. I'm going to not leave them in strips at all. I'm going to just chop them really quite small so that they become part of a smoother spread. The shape of sun-dried tomato you put in is what it's going to be in the final product here. It's not going to get blended or smithereened or anything like that. So put in the size tomato you want to be in your spread. I don't know if I ever do a recipe exactly the way it says. Oh, once in a while. Once in a while I do, just because I feel like I should do it as the author intended it the first time. But sometimes I have to modify it because I can see that something would be better. Okay, now I have pieces that are about the size of, pencil erasers. Not huge, not small. And those are going into a microwavable safe bowl. With a lid, by the way. You're going to need to put a lid on this. We'll put all of those tomatoes in this glass bowl. And to that, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. It's fun to keep more than one kind of vinegar in your house. I have several kinds, flavored ones, and it's just fun. Red wine vinegar, however, is one thing that you're going to probably need often enough that you're going to want it in your house all the time, along with distilled white vinegar and apple cider vinegar and probably balsamic as well. All right, now we're going to put in just a pinch of dried red pepper flakes or whatever you feel brave about. I am not brave about red pepper flakes. So I have a very small pinch that is going in. And we're going to put that in the microwave at about 30% or medium low for 2 minutes. Yeah, power of 3. For what did I say? 2 minutes, that's right. All right, there we go. And while that's heating, I'm going to mince my garlic. And as you know, if you've listened to me before, that means I cut off the really dry end of this clove of garlic. And then I smash it with the flat of the knife, just enough to get the skin off of it. And then I put it in a garlic press. This particular clove of garlic is the only one on a head that is garlic clove size. You know how sometimes, once in a while, you get a head of garlic that looks like it has nice big cloves on it, and then you get it home and open it up, and it turns out that each of those things you thought was a really big clove is half a dozen little tiny things that are hard to even peel, much less do anything with. That's what I have here. That's annoying to me. I don't care for it. The thing is, I don't buy my own groceries anymore. Or at least I haven't in a while, except in emergencies. For standard grocery fare, I'm using the pickup service at my local Kroger-owned store. So I do it all online, and I try to leave notes that says, please look for heads of garlic that look like they have really large cloves. And I have to be fair about this. This one did. It looked like it had enormous cloves. And it really wasn't until I popped the first one out and discovered it was about 8 little tiny ones that I realized it's tricky. It's tricky to know unless you're actually there feeling it and knowing what you're feeling for. I am now feeding this clove of garlic through my garlic press and then scrunching up what's left in the part you put the garlic in to squeeze it one more time to get all of it out of there. And then because it was peeled, there was no skin on it, I actually go back and scrape out what's in the basket as well, because it isn't exactly minced, but it's not whole garlic anymore. It's just mashed garlic, whatever didn't go through. And I figure there's no sense in wasting it. So I use it. All right, the microwave is done, but I'm going to ignore it for a minute. If you don't have a microwave, by the way, you could do that heating on your regular range or induction cooktop or whatever. Just keep it on a really low heat for about 3 minutes. Now I'm going to my mixer, and I'm going to use the mixer blade that has the little scrapers on the sides, 2 sides actually, just so it doesn't all stick to the bottom of the bowl. And in here now goes the 1/2 cup of ricotta, which I haven't measured out. I think what I have in this container is probably almost exactly a 1/2 cup, but I'm going to just check. It's maybe a little more. Oh, it is. Oh, for heaven's sake, it's about 2/3 of a cup. Well, all right then. I'm glad I measured it. So I'm going to take some of that back out of the measuring cup. It's okay because I've got ricotta in another dish I'm going to do for the main dish tomorrow. Because there's no such thing as too much cheese. You heard it here. Okay, there's my 1/2 cup of ricotta. That's going in the mixer. And then we're going to add a 1/2 cup of crumbled feta. And because it's kind of hard to measure something as 1/2 cup when it's solid, I have to crumble it. But I'm also going to weigh it instead of just trying to get it in a cup. I'm going to find out. So the recipe says that what we need is 3 ounces. So that's what I'm looking for here on my little scale. Kitchen scales are great. They're fun, and they're also really helpful at times when you just want to be sure you got the right thing for measuring pasta or whatever. Amounts of meat, when a recipe says 8 ounces and you don't know if you got 4 or if you've got 14. Okay, 3 ounces of feta is actually going to be quite a lot. I have the kind that I got from Trader Joe's that's in brine. I prefer that to pre-crumbled stuff because it keeps forever. It just stays good. And I appreciate that. I can always reach in there and get it out of the brine, and it will have still been just as good as the day I got it. All right, there is actually 3.1 ounces. And to me, that's close enough. And I am adding that to the mixer. And we're going to beat that until it's fluffy. Starting slowly so that it doesn't go all over, although it probably wouldn't anyway because it's not dry. All right, and then just cranking it up and giving it a chance to fluffify and sort of meld into a single ingredient. And there's really no way to determine what is meant by fluffy. So it's just your own eyeballs. You decide when it's what you would call fluffy. Well, it looks fluffy. It even feels a little fluffy. I'm going to do it a little more. Okay, that's definitely fluffy. So that was fast. Now I bet you can guess the next step. What we're going to do is add that stuff we just microwaved. And hopefully it's not too hot. Oh, interesting. Well, the sun-dried tomatoes have kind of soaked up most of that vinegar. Oh, wow, it's really sharp. The vinegar's definitely still there, okay? In case you've got the wrong idea. This goes in now to the feta and ricotta mixture. And so does the garlic. Okay, then we're going to mix it again. Just gently this time. Just until it's kind of mixed up. Yeah, it's lovely. The red is kind of turning the cheese pink. Too bad I didn't get a picture of the tomatoes for you, but I didn't. But a picture of the spread itself will be on the website, thecookalongpodcast.com, so you can see what it looked like after I got it all mixed up together. You know, the thing that strikes me as I'm looking at this is that it also might be really good to have some finely chopped Kalamata olives in here. Oh, how interesting. Okay, the vinegar is quite pronounced. It's going to be really garlicky because I'm leaving it to sit in my refrigerator for 24 hours. Actually, almost 30 hours. So this is going to be a pretty strongly flavored spread, which I kind of like. I mean, that's not a bad thing. I'm going to taste it one more time here because I have this idea. Yeah, the tomatoes are just a little bit sweet. And the cheese is nice. I see. That's why it's so vinegary, because the tomatoes are where the sweetness comes from. However, I am going to add a tiny pinch of sugar to this. Don't ask me why. Intuition is telling me to do it. To cut the really vinegar thing just a little bit. Okay, that I just stirred. Now let's see. Oh, yeah. How funny. Oh my God. Yeah, you can still tell there's vinegar in there. But the sharpness of it is suddenly quite toned down. And now this is quite nice. I was a little worried there for a minute. All right, I'm going to put it in a container. And I will take a picture, keeping in mind that this can be used as a sandwich spread, although to me, that means something that you just put on bread and eat just like that. If you ask me, this is more of a condiment. Like you could put it in a salami sandwich or a ham sandwich as the spread that acts as both the cheese and the mayonnaise kind of thing for the sandwich. But you could also use it for crackers, as I am doing, or as a dip for bagel chips or something. It's quite good. That's today's recipe. I'm putting it now into the bowl so I can take a nice picture for you. There are some fun crackery kinds of things on my website and in your podcast feed that could go with this. There also are a bunch of other kinds of snacky appetizer kinds of things. I only put the stuff up there that I have found to be really appealing once I taste them. So you can trust that they're good things when you find them on the website. Tell a friend you listen to the Cook Along podcast. And until next time, happy cooking!